I'm Steve Ashby. I am the SIP trunking product manager at Gamma. SIP trunks. The reason they're a buzzword is a little bit more than that. They are taking over wholesale the job that ISDN used to do and will stop doing in the not too distant future. They're the replacement telephony service for all landline businesses. ISDN doesn't lend itself to the way that people want to include other aspects of the business, unified comms and so forth. Lots of reasons have come together for SIP to take over ISDN, not least of which is commercial. So people want to spend less money on the same types of services. They can only do that effectively through IP, and that means using SIP. I mean, I've been involved with ISDN for a long time, so I come from sort of, a gamekeeper turned poacher in that sense. ISDN, if you want to do anything like change the number of channels and so forth, it can be done, but it's not quick, it's not easy, it's not straightforward. Compare that to like a broadband and IP type of service where you can change things on the fly. Well, that's more akin to what SIP is, and SIP trunking particularly. So people who need to change channels because of time of year or particular events, doing that on ISDN, difficult. On SIP, very, very easy. Certainly our numbers speak for themselves in that respect. About 30% of all of our SIP goes out in some kind of DR build. And the reason that people do that, not because they're particularly more worried about DR than they were before, they were always concerned, but with SIP, it's more cost effective to put in extra SIP channels, extra SIP trunks, and automatically have the cloud, if you like, do the DR function for them. So in the olden days, if you will, if I wanted to have resilience for my ISDN, I would have to get another ISDN circuit from a different exchange. That's not cheap by any means. With SIP, it's almost business as usual. The issue around QoS, quality of service, that people have often worried about with voice would have been a valid sort of discussion argument maybe sort of 4 or 5 years ago, but that was because access circuits were expensive to get good ones, and cheap ones were frankly not appropriate for VoIP. Today we see things like Ethernet in the first mile and FTTC and all sorts of new access circuits which take away what was originally the bandwidth limitation for voice, very sensitive to that. First of all, you need to know what you're replacing, so you need to have an understanding for the capacity that's required for moving to SIP. It's a very, very easy metric in terms of multiplying the number of channels by the bandwidth that particular call will take, looking at available bandwidth and employing some mechanism to differentiate, if you're having a converged service, the data from the voice. Now you can either get that from the supplier who will manage that for you, or you take some responsibility and enforce some kind of QoS policy on your router itself. But the rest of it is simply a maths piece. The sort of partner that does well with SIP trunking specifically are people that have a portfolio of knowledge around the topic. Is not just, not a one-trick pony, if you like. So in terms of the management, the operational management, the expertise, the knowledge, the customer needs to know that they're speaking to somebody who understands, obviously them as a business and what they're trying to do, but the product and the service that they're selling, rather than simply the price of it. And you can spot the difference fairly easily. They're not mutually exclusive. Commercially, it doesn't make sense to run them both forever, but we do find that a lot of people will keep IS and ISDN for a period of time and use it perhaps just for inbound traffic, whilst their SIP estate grows, and ultimately they'll make the complete transition. So we do see an awful lot of dual running for a period of time.